Hey everyone, this is Roman Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience podcast. Today I have with me Mark Kumar. Mark is a lifestyle entrepreneur. He helps entrepreneurs achieve their personal and business goals faster. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be in the show. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for jumping on. So tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today?
It started with my first business, which was a photography business, where I got myself a camera for Christmas, and then I start to play around with it, just like anybody else, with a new digital toy. Like, hey, I want to play around with it, see what I could do, and then I started photographing things that were around me, like a chair, table, family members, so on and so forth. And then sooner my word got out where everybody thought around my connection, you can call it, where like, hey, Mark knows how to take pictures. So one point in time, after a month, someone is like, hey, why don't you come and take pictures of me and I'll pay you. At that moment, I'm like, the light bulb went off, like, what, you're gonna pay me to take pictures? So that was the moment when I realized, hey, if I could just apply the same process to another things, then I can literally make money. And that's where my entrepreneur journey started. So like I said, the first business was photography, where I was like first client, got my client through my word of mouth, and then that went on to lead to for me to continue my photography business, going into portrait, wedding photography, and also I taught other photographers who were wanting to learn and take their skills to the next level, not only just photography but also the business side of it. And then what I realized at that point in time, the only thing the people didn't know was like the business side, which is the marketing, the sales, and the branding and stuff like that. Even though I didn't know much, I didn't know anything. But what I did know was like how to communicate with people in a way that people will start to like you. For example, if I'm talking to somebody, rather than saying boring way like, hello, my name is Mark and I want to do blah blah blah. If you talk in that tone, you're going to put people in a state which is like a sleep. They're ready to go to sleep. You don't want to do that. If you want to actually have people, somebody like you, share your enthusiasm, whatever you're excited about, and then what are the things that makes you want to like get up in the morning, like, yeah, I want to do this, stuff like that. And that's what I taught in my workshop. And then later on that process, I went on to where I needed a business website for my photography business, and I was doing all those things, but at the time I did not have a business website. So I went in there and like, hey, let me go find somebody who could who can build a website for me. And at the time, I had this bug in my mind with like, hey, I can teach myself whatever, because if I could teach myself how to take photos and teach other people, then I could teach myself another skill. And that's exactly what I did. I taught myself how to create a website, not just your plain boring WordPress website. I'm talking like a real hardcore typing in the code, like HTML, JavaScript, and Flash and stuff like that. That was back in the days. And then my interest in that industry grew, where I was like, wow, this is great. I love this thing. And then one of the projects that I was working on, I literally didn't sleep for 41 hours because I was so enthusiastic about this project and passionate about it. But like, this is great. And then I didn't sleep 41 hours. When I tell that to other people, they're like, holy crap, you're crazy. But I like to call it being passionate and determined. I know what I like. I'm like, I'm going to go after that. And then that went on for a while. And then I also went to the point where I created myself my own content management system, something similar to WordPress. And if those of you who are listening to this, and if you ever use WordPress, there's always the biggest problem with that is whenever they come out with a new update, it messes up your whole framework that you have, all the plugins that you may have installed, that messes up. And I used that WordPress for a while. Then I got frustrated with it. I'm like, I can't keep doing this because I was spending more time fixing my website that I had than actually running my business. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to build my own content management system, which is available if anybody's just interested. It's called NodePress.js, but that's just out there if you want to use it. But that's what a system that I use for all my websites that I have out there. And then I went on to into corporate world, where I have worked on a different application, the web application more specifically, where I was like one of the projects that I worked on, there's a company, a multi-million-dollar company called Shop and Stop. And those of you may not know, there's a food industry. It's called Shop and Stop, Giant Food, and Giant Mountain, which is based out of US. And they have asked me to build a project or a system in which they can do stuff which I cannot talk about it because it's confidential. But nonetheless, in long story short, it saved them $7.8 million in the course of 8 months. So that was huge. Like, wow, this is great. And then while I was creating all these programs, and then after, let's say, I think it was a matter of 2 years or so, I put on a lot of weight. I was like really, really heavy, like 270 pounds. And to the point where I was having hard time climbing up the stairs and getting out of breath. That was like not the way I wanted to be. And at the time I realized, like, holy crap, if I continue on this path, I am not going to live past 50. Because at the time I was wearing size 2XL in shirt and 42 size pants. That was humongous. So at that time I went to the same path. Like I went from photography to web development. I'm like, I'm gonna find out or figure out how I'm gonna get healthy. And then I went on, tried different diets, different programs. I tried all things you could possibly imagine. And some of them worked, what I found, and the other ones kind of like worked for a day or two and it kind of went off. And then after a while, I'm like, I'm getting frustrated. Like, what? There has to be a one system that will work for you no matter whatever it is or wherever you are in the world, it will work for you. And that's when I realized that system that I use, which is the Sark Fit system that I built. Then I have used other people. I have other people get on that too, and they have lost tremendous amount of weight. And in that, when I was done with it, I went from 2XL to medium in t-shirt size, and from pants I went from 42 to 34. For me, that was huge, going from 270 pounds, and the lightest I ever been is 185 pounds. Like, that's mind-blowing. Obviously it took some time, but the point is, now that I know the knowledge, I can also not only help myself to stay on a healthy path, but at the same time help other people who could potentially use my help, who are in the same situation that I was at one point in time. So that's how I got healthy. And then now I'm into the fourth industry, which is the podcast industry, where once again, I scratched my own need, if you want to call it that, where I wanted to become a podcaster. At first, I didn't know anything about podcaster other than the fact that I know I could listen to it on my car radio, on my cell phone, or anywhere that is available, but I didn't know how they were creating them in the sense of the back-end side. Like, which microphone do you need? What do you use to record it? And then how you edit it? And then how do you get to the point where you distribute it to a different platform? I didn't know any of that. And then I learned that. And then I was like, okay, I want to create my own show, which is like Mark Kumar show. If you want to listen to any of my episode, you can call, I guess, podcast it, any of the directory, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you are. Just type my name. It is Mark Kumar. Last name is Kumar. You could just look that up and I will come up. But not only just create a podcast, but what I found out was while I was creating it, then there was a big challenge, which was like, if I use one company which offers me, let's say, 4 hours of podcasting that I can upload to one directory, one platform. And then, okay, what if I want to have like 5 hours or 7 episodes per week? They will not let you do that. And then other company, which was like, hey, we'll give you 200 gigs of storage and then 200 gigs of bandwidth. And those of you who are new to podcasting, basically what that means is, let's say if you have one podcast that is 100 megs in terms of file size, and then once you get to the 200 gig bandwidth, every time somebody listens to your podcast, every time somebody downloads a podcast, there goes that 100 meg. And then at that particular 100 meg adds up fairly quick to 250 gigs. So, which is not thing. So basically what they were saying, this company, if you get popular, then you have to pay us more, which is like, what, it makes no logical sense. Like, why would you want to be with somebody or spend all this time, first of all, uploading your podcast information and then uploading all that stuff, and then later on find out they're going to charge you a leg and an arm just so you can have people listen to your stuff, right? And then what I did was I ended up creating my own company, in which is called Simple Podcast Cloud, in which we are for the podcaster, from the podcaster like myself, and which we give you everything unlimited, unlimited storage, unlimited shows, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited everything, and also on top of everything, our which is the RSS feed works 100% compatible with all the different famous platforms out there, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. You just take that URL, plug it in there, it will work 100%. That's something we take in pride in. And if any of the platform changes some of the things, we will update it on our side. You never have to do anything, which is what we're really, really passionate about. And then everybody who has made the switch from our competitor to us, they love it because we simplify everything. Our system is so simple to use that you don't have to worry about it. And the stats that we give you, they're amazing. So everything is there, but on top of everything else, we give you this professional looking website with no ads like some of the other people do, that is yours. And then also what we do is we also build in the contact form where no one else gives you that, where you can have your people who go to your professional podcast website. They will literally fill in the form information just like if they were on another professional website, and you will get an email right to it, and you can communicate with that particular person, and then you have this conversation and see how you can help that person who contacts you. So that's where I am now. So that's what it is.
No, it's awesome. And I appreciate that, everything you've done, you took it upon yourself to learn and kind of get as best as you can at. I learned or got into digital marketing out of necessity because of the 2008 recession. I graduated college with a degree in criminal justice and had an internship at the Secret Service and thought I was going to go kind of the criminal justice route. But then things happen, and it's what you do at those times. And if you want to do something, information is open source, so you can learn anything in 2020. It's just the people having excuses. So even you touched upon it, you were doing all these things, but then kind of your health slipped. You gained weight, you weren't healthy, so you had to kind of get that balance too. And I think with entrepreneurs, health and mental health as well is very important, because a lot of the time it's it's a lonely kind of journey. So having time or allotting time, even if you're working remotely or if you're a digital nomad, to take it upon yourself to not necessarily go to the gym, but maybe a run, a walk, any kind of physical activity, and kind of add that balance to your life.
Absolutely, man. And that's one of the biggest things, which is I agree with it. Like the way I look at things or way that I explain to other people is you should definitely put more effort on your health, because if you're not physically in this world, you cannot get all these other wonderful things the world has to offer you, whether it'll be a financial freedom, whether it'll be a time with your family, which is right now in where I'm in point in my life. I would give up anything to spend more time with my family because they are the most top priority. Those are the things that I work hard for, not for just for the money, because that's already done. Once you hit the six figures, like whatever, right? Some people are trying to hit the six figure, but once you get to that point, what's next? Right? So the next thing is your family. What are you going to do with all that money you have? Let's say you have a $200,000 in your bank tomorrow. Who are you going to spend it on? Things you have you can share with your family or your friends, So definitely, I think anybody who's listening to the show, definitely I would highly recommend take care of yourself first, your health and mental health, like you said, because if you don't have those two things, you cannot go forward. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can have tens of millions of dollars, but then when you end up getting a heart attack or anything, your health falls, all that money doesn't matter because, I mean, you're not enjoying that time. And like you said, that kind of healthy balance with your family. And I think as you get older in different parts of your life, you have different priorities. So
Absolutely.
obviously, if you're younger and you have the time and you're motivated, you can just hustle, like you said, 40 hours straight, learn something, build a system. But when you get a family, you might need to reprioritize or break that down in a way where it's, incorporating your family and your family time, because people say, I have a work-life balance, but it's never 50-50. You have to kind of move it either to family, to work, back and forth. And it's a working progress every day.
Can I just share something in terms of what you say, work-life balance? When I heard that particular statement, I kind of giggle because it's never work-life balance because you cannot focus on two things at the same time. What I like to call is the work-life integration. Integration. You can have a family and a business, and then both of them can go together, but you can't balance one thing, meaning work on one thing, you're going to lack the second thing. Speaking from somebody who actually went into the 4 different businesses, and then I can guarantee if you actually have a business, like that's what I do, where I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, where you create a business that goes around your life, not the other way around. Don't have a business that goes around, don't have a life that goes around your business, then you always going to lose. Just create a business that is around your life. For example, fitness business that I was in, that was around my life. I didn't have to sacrifice anything. So what I was doing in that business, that translated into my own personal life and the people that I was touching. So it felt like I was actually, number one, helping people because they were seeing results and they were like, oh my God, you're great. Thank you so much for sharing this information. And thank you for changing my life. And now I could do these things. For example, the mom's like, hey, now I have enough energy to spend it with my kids. I can go to a park with my kids and not feel, number one, that I cannot do the physical activity that my kids are doing. For example, if you have like 5-year-old kid and then she tells you, hey, mommy, come play with me. But if you are in a position or in your health is so bad, you cannot go run behind your kid. Like to me, that's devastating. I mean, you are robbing yourself of these wonderful experiences life has to offer just because some people are just simply lazy. I hate to say this because they would rather eat the freaking pizza or the French fries or the, fried food that they know they should not, but just out of convenience of being lazy. Then they get to the point where you're like, hey, I can't do that, kiddo, because my knees hurt or my elbow hurt or I'm too fat or whatever. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. So what motivates you to succeed?
This point in my life, the only thing that motivates me is to help people get result. Before, like in my earlier career, I could say it was like the money. I want to make the money. I want the money, 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 money. And if those of you who are listening in your 20s, early 20s, or whatever, or depending on where you are in your path of entrepreneurship, money is important. Trust me, I get it. I've been there. I know it. It's important. But that's just the baseline of what you start off with. Like for example, if you what I best way I can explain it to you is if you are level 0, which means you're just starting out and you're like only thing that you want to do is make money, which is very reasonable thing. Anybody who wants to get in business, obviously you need to make money because you got to pay your bills. But at that point, level 0, you want to take any and all clients that come your way. You don't care if you make extra $20, extra $50, extra $100, doesn't matter. You will take it. And what that will do for your mental health is those, let's just say, coupon clients, they're gonna cause you more headache and more stress than in a matter of 2 to 3 months. You're gonna hate your life, you're gonna hate your business, and you're gonna start regretting, why in the world did I get into this business? This is not what I signed up for. So what I recommend is focus on the money part, obviously, but also focus on like, hey, which client do I personally love to work with? And then obviously along the way, there are going to be some clients where you have to say, no, I can't work with you. That's just fine. So say no to the ones you don't want. At least that way your life is gonna go towards what you do want. And all those coupon people, they're gonna go away. They're gonna find somebody else. Don't let that be your problem. Let that be somebody else who is ready to sacrifice their time, or let them bog them down, because that's all they're gonna do is coupon clients. They're like, hey, if for example, if you offer that person, let's say $100 product or offer or whatever, they're like, hey, can you do $50? They're like, no, that's half of what that's gonna cut my profit down. And then some people are like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And then they're like, no, now I want it for $20. So they're always going to lower the price no matter what. And then there's on the flip side, your ideal client who is going to ask you to work hard. But when it comes to money, when you charge them $100, they're going to give you extra money, which is, I know maybe depending on where you are in a point in your life, you're like, no, it's going to give me extra money. Trust me. If you out deliver to the people who are very particular about the things that they need and the way they need it, if you give it to them, they will not only give you extra money, they will also give you extra clients without you ever have to do anything. And then you'll be at a point where you'll be like, hey, I don't have to work hard and I love my clients. And then that's when you're living. That's when you're actually enjoying the business. And then you are living your life the way it's meant to be lived.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the point of when you first start out, you may have to take kind of clients that aren't as favorable, but those clients that want kind of everything for free usually suck up all the resources from the clients that are, good paying clients and in good standing and, like working with you as a company. And then those accounts suffer. So then in turn, you lose the good accounts and you still have the headache.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so what's one thing you may have seen as a weakness in yourself in the past that you've turned around and utilize as a strength today?
The only thing I could think of it is like shifting the mindset from I cannot do it and I can do it. It's up until now, even if I change industry, I go through it still up until now, which is the weirdest thing. But I know now how to speed up that process. Like before the very first industry, when I went from my photography into web development, the one of the things that I had to deal with was like, I can't create this. I'm not a web developer, number one, right? And then I taught myself a little things where I was like, hey, I know how to put up a simple web page where I can show something on the screen, whether it be just my name, hello, hi, whatever. And then that went on. And then the next phase within the same industry, we're like, hey, I want to create myself my own content management system. So there's the dialogue. Soon as you try something new that goes into your head, like I can't do it because I never done it. Number one. Number two, there are other people who are better than me. And then why should I am nobody. Why should I do this? Because there are people other better than me and who can do these things faster. Then what gives me the right to say, hey, I am better than everybody else, right? So that shift of the mindset, that takes a while. Like, for example, somebody starting out, they may or may not have done things that they're doing right now. And because you are living in this uncomfortable zone, then that becomes a little hard. Not just mental wise, I guess, because you're doing things that you never done, and then you are not seeing the results as quickly as you would like it. That's the differences. So now what I do is I go into the point where like, hey, if I'm going one industry or another, my only thing that I focus on now is like, hey, whatever I'm doing today, I may be horrible at it. The person who's been to 20, 30, 40, 50 years, yeah, which is fine. Can I do it better, just a 1% better? That's it. And then what happens at the end of the month, I am like 4,000% better if I continue. And then also, if you just take small step in terms of just 1% improvement every single day, mentally wise, your mind can actually digest it. Hey, for example, if I'm talking about fitness industry, right? Hey, on Monday, I took 10 steps as working out, taking a health approach, right? And then on Tuesday, can I take just one extra step, whether it be 11 step? And then come Wednesday, 12, and then so on and so forth. So just 1% change every single day. That's all you need.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's that first step is the hardest. So you have that self-doubt, kind of you put yourself down, and as soon as you start it, it kind of gets easier. Like you said, you can do it slowly. It doesn't have to be this drastic from 1 to 100 and overnight success. I mean, some people have that based on kind of the variables they're presented, the right opportunity, you meet the right people. But everybody has a different situation. At the end of the day, the biggest hurdle you have is yourself. So getting over that, getting out of your own mind and kind of moving forward and telling yourself and giving yourself permission to basically succeed.
Can I just touch on that overnight success part for just 1 second? Like people who see, hey, this guy has been an overnight success. Yeah, you may just see that now, but whatever happened to that particular person 10, 20, 15 years ago, no one sees that. Because all of us are like so used to seeing, like, for example, when first Coca-Cola company firm, when they first came in, right, in the marketplace, I bet you nobody knows this. In their first year, they only sold 25 bottles in 1 year. Now they probably sell 25 bottles in 1 second across the world. Like, imagine that in 1 year, 25 bottles across the United States. Like, that is huge. If they can go from that, and their company, they're like putting out bills and all that stuff, and a lot of people work for them, and only sold 25 bottles. Like, that's huge.
Yeah, I
So
think it's that kind of social media effect in 2020. So it's a highlight reel of your life. You don't see kind of the, blood, sweat, and tears, or how long it actually took you to get somewhere. And everybody wants to see all like the flashy stuff, or this is the success, or this is the goal I reached. But not everyone really covers like the mental health aspect of it, the gaining weight, the staying up 40 hours straight. And I think the more entrepreneurs and professionals and people building their own brand that are authentic like that, it actually goes a lot further and adds more value.
absolutely, man. And like you said, the social media, it's like it really, really degrades the actual hardworking entrepreneurs that are out there, because those are the ones that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears, like you said. But social media is like, hey, this is not how it is. But in real life, those people are saying this is not how it is. That's exactly what they're doing. But they don't just tell you about it. You know? So it makes a
Yep,
huge difference. Yeah.
I agree. So, what's one piece of advice you have for the audience, personal or professional?
Personal, obviously, it will has to be the health. Take care of yourself first, because you are the only one who has the capacity and capability to change the world around you. Because if you are here physically, then you can make difference in the outer world to help people around you and stuff. And professionally, I would say definitely always spend at least 20 hours a week on personal development, whether it be learning a new skill in the industry you are in. Start with that, and then after that, learn something new, something different every day in a different industry. Because what that will do is this will open up your eyes to different ideas that you may or may not have thought of. Because what works in one industry, like what people say, it may not work with other ones. So that's the only thing. So learn something new every single day.
No, I agree. That's great advice. So, I really appreciate you stopping by today. Can you let the audience know how they can find you?
You can find me on my podcast. You could just type in Mark Kumar anywhere in there, or just Google Mark Kumar podcast. Or you can also check out my website, which is markkumar.com. That's MarKumar.com.
Awesome. Thanks again for stopping by.
All right. Thank you.